What is happening?
We should do a stream.
Oh yeah, we were gonna read Homestuck, which is the web comic that like our generation missed.
What do you know about Homestuck?
I know a couple of things.
Okay.
I know it's a web comic. I guess the generation like right under us got really into. It's very, very long. There exists an army of juggalos that may or may not be from space that are led by Guy Fieri, goes to war with like Betty Crocker, who owns everything. So Betty Crocker is like the Jeff Bezos or whatever. And I know there's a lot of 90s nostalgia stuff. Oh, I also know about Sweet Bro and Hella Jeff. I've seen some of those comics, like just out of context, and I really unironically enjoyed them. Really shitty drawn, quote unquote, bro comedy. It's really stupid. I like dumb shit, and the Sweet Bro and Hella Jeff comics felt like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's my kind of humor, that right there. So, I know they refer in universe to Homestuck as Homostuck. Maybe that's more spoilers.
Okay, so Sweet Bro Hella Jeff is made by the guy that everyone in chat keeps making fun of me with, which is Dave. They say that I'm Dave because I go off on rants.
Dave is a character in Homestuck.
Yeah, and he's like a hipster who makes shitty web comics for his friends to laugh at.
He makes Sweet Bro and Hella Jeff.
Yes, the character in the comic makes the other comic.
So now you have to give me like a very short, brief recap of everything that's happened in the
Okay, so we're at page 4,201.
You've read 4,000 pages of this?
Okay, some pages, there's basically like 3 different types of pages you'll run into. There's just like an image and like a funny little GIF, and it's nothing, real fast. There are the pester logs, which is just like a conversation between 2 people over like instant messenger, and that is like a fucking novel every time you hit one of those pages. And then there are other pages where there's like full-on flash animations where like you can just sit back and watch. Let me show you the chart, because there's 2 charts now. So part of this is me trying to understand what's going on, and half of it is me just rambling about shit and doing random pieces of art while that happens.
So this is the thing that you're showing me as a recap of everything that happened already?
So this is like roughly 4,000 something pages of information condensed down into the way that I take notes.
I'm going to start at the top left. It says Freud was a bitch and died like a chump.
Okay, so that has nothing to do with the comic for the most part. There is one character that's like, you know how there's those kids that are like, they pretend that they're psychologists because they read like 3 Wikipedia articles?
Yeah, or they watched like a special on like fucking Discovery Channel or something.
She's
and all
that
of a sudden,
fucking kid.
Let's watch an hour-long fucking like documentary, and then all of a sudden you're a fucking expert, and I have to sit here listening to you fucking theorize about it while you smoke a blunt. So you got one of those going on.
Her name is Rose, and she's like a goth chick and kind of an edgelord. They're all like vaguely teenagers, mostly. They're 13. There you go. So there's essentially like 3 different times we go through more or less the same kind of story. We're just now starting the 3rd time we're doing this.
It's a time loop?
There's a lot of time fuckery and alternate dimensions and extra bullshit and whatever. So there were the beta kids, which are the ones that everyone actually gives a shit about, as far as I understand. And then there's the trolls, and then there's the alpha kids. I don't know shit about the alpha kids yet.
Are you saying that these are alternate reality versions of the same people?
No.
How can half the chat say no and half the chat say yes? They either are or aren't.
Mike, they're right, though.
What do you mean? What do you mean they're right?
Okay, so you see like in the middle of the comic? Okay, so John, the main character of the first arc, right? So his job was to make themselves.
Yep.
And so he finds this room, and it's filled with these tubes that have sludge, right? And so by pulling random fucking switches on the thing, he ends up combining the DNA of people that he knows into clones of himself and his parents and his friends' parents.
So there's alternate versions of them, but that doesn't have to do with alternate timelines or alternate dimensions. It has to do with their clones.
Yeah. Yeah. Then those got sent back in time, so that way John could have his parents.
So it's like one of those time paradox situations where like
the clone
his
paradoxes.
His own parents.
They're clones, but they're the same people because of paradoxes.
Listen, sex god Mr. Bucket kind of just commanded my attention.
Yeah, so the context for that one is that trolls reproduce by like jerking off into a bucket, and then the swill turns into like the stuff that's put into like, it's sort of like ants where there's like one queen. So they just like all stand around and jerk off into a bucket, and then that's given to the queen. Have you listened to the commercial for Mr. Bucket recently?
Dude, of course. Well, not recently, but it's
No,
burned into
hold
my
up.
memory as a
No.
child.
What are the lyrics of Mr. Bucket?
Mr. Bucket, you put the balls in my mouth. Mr.
Yeah,
Bucket,
it
put
is.
the balls in my mouth. Mr. Bucket, and I'm sure it's buckets of fun. It's buckets of fun. Mr. Bucket, put your balls in my mouth. Mr. Bucket, it's buckets of fun. That's
Yeah, there it is.
lyrics.
That's it. Yes.
So you got sex god Mr. Bucket, and the reason is he is the sex god of the trolls.
That is something I made up because it just makes sense. Because if you're gonna jerk off into a bucket, Mr. Bucket would be the sex god. So while we're on the topic of romance, you see the quadrants. You see like the really shittily like photoshopped Jesse and James.
I do see what you're saying. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Mouth, Jesse, James. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So trolls have other relationships aside from just
romantic.
Yeah.
All right.
And so they use like playing card things to represent what those things are.
Why are they Pokemon characters, dude?
Because that is how I was able to like comprehend what these are supposed to be. So the heart is just like standard human romance. So that's why it's Ash X Misty in that little quadrant, right?
All right. So then Gary and Ash, that's gay.
Well, yeah, but they kind of like fucking hate each other, but they hate each other in a way that like allows them to get better. And then you've got whatever the fuck is going on with Brock. There's nothing going on there like sexually. And then like Jesse and James are like in the hate fuck relationship with each other. But Meowth basically just keeps them from killing each other as like a mediator.
Okay.
So this is how their relationships work.
And these are not necessarily romantic relationships.
They're not romantic, excluding the Ash Misty one.
But these are things that these people like enter into.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Well, yeah. They pretty much have to, because like they're all. How are they all romantic? Wait, how is that new information to me? They consider them to be romantic. Okay, fair enough.
So there's one queen. Everybody jerks off into the bucket, and then they go, knock, knock. Hey, queen, we got your delivery of semen. And then they give her the Mr. Bucket loaded with jizz. Sperm fucking cocktail from all of these thousands of different trolls. And then she somehow uses
no.
to create new trolls.
Everyone gets a different bucket. Chad is informing me that the left side is not sexual, but the right side is.
Okay. All right.
But anyway, you could hate someone enough that you would procreate with them.
But I thought they couldn't because there's a queen, and that's how they reproduce.
Well, yeah, but they both get together and they're like, I fucking hate you. And then they jerk off into a bucket, and then they bring that to the queen. And the combination of their two jisms is what they give to the queen, which makes new troll babies.
All right. Okay. All right. I buy it.
What else is important for you to know right now? Page 4109. Everything went to fuck. The kids that were originally in the comic and the trolls that were helping them. A bunch of bad shit happened and everyone screwed up, and they were like, we can hard reset this game we're playing, which controls the universe. But if we do that, we have to like reset the entire universe and start from scratch. But we can be involved in what happens. And they are now watching their parents do what they did, but they're gonna help them with it.
Yep. So the entire universe is a simulation.
No.
Right? It's not.
No, just video games are real. It's like Jumanji. Yeah, that's a good explanation. It's like Jumanji. As soon as you start the game, it's just everything's fucked because you started the game.
You know what? I can understand that.
That's actually a really good. Yeah, that's a really good explanation.
All right, yeah, I'll roll with that. So on Homestuck Day, it was a pivotal moment because they had done a thing.
They fucked it up so bad, and the only way to fix it was to hard reset the game.
So it's a clean slate.
Clean slate, but by doing that, the big bad that is like ever present in every universe is now out and about. So they had to do that because there was a guy who basically was like, he went postal on one of the dream planets, which we're not getting into that shit, and started causing problems for fucking everyone. And they're like, we can't beat this guy There's no way to stop him. We're going to have to like hard reset the game. But by doing that, they let a even worse enemy into like existence.
Okay, so that's where you're at now.
Yes. So we're basically starting sort of the comic over again for the third time, but this time with the alpha kids.
So where the trolls are in this? How are the trolls fitting into this whole thing? How are the trolls and their cum buckets fitting into everything?
So in order, the trolls did their session and they fucked up. They basically are homicidal as just a basic trait of existence. They start off by just fucking with the kids and like messing with them and making their lives awful until they get into the game. And then it's revealed that the trolls originally were the people who, as their reward for finishing the game, even though they did it really stupid, they ended up getting the reward of making a universe of their own design. So they made the universe that the original kids were in.
Oh God. Okay. All right. So okay. All right. I'll buy that. All right. So trolls, they were somebody who played the game before the main characters did.
Right. But they did it really dumb and they did it wrong and they fucked up. In fact, out of the number of people that we've seen play this game, 2 out of 3 have fucked it up, and the only reason that the third one hasn't fucked it up yet is because they haven't started playing. This one guy, for like ever, right?
Yeah.
He's like in this like alternate universe where he's like fucking with everyone and like pulling the strings behind everything. And he's like, oh, I'm a great host. You know, when people come over, I make sure they got snacks. And he keeps bringing that up. And it's like, why the fuck are you bringing that up? No one's here. No one's here to have snacks. He's possessed. He's a host to the demon thing that I was talking about. That's the actual problem later on. And also he does host a party. So it made sense. It was just bullshit for like 6 hours of me reading this.
For 6 hours, you have no idea what you're reading whatsoever.
But why it's happening.
You're like, where is the thing I was reading? What the fuck is this for 6 hours?
Right.
Okay, here's a good question.
Okay.
Would you say that this hussy fella is a good author? Is he a good writer?
So everyone in the comic seems like an actual person you could meet for the most part. Like, he does character writing very well.
What about narrative? Like, is it...
The narrative is... I feel like you've actually come to understand it better than you would expect. All right, so I've sent you another chart. Now that we're like halfway through the comic, I had to start a new chart according to Natalie.
All right.
This chart is much shorter because it's only about like 20 or so pages worth of shit.
All right, so I guess the first thing you would have to explain now is who Vriska is.
Okay, so Vriska is a fucking problem. That timeline that I've drawn there is just copy-pasted from the other one. It is, as far as I could fucking understand, accurate.
There sure are a lot of scribbles on that timeline, dude.
Yes.
It's almost like you didn't give a shit, or you started in earnest with trying to have this mean something, and then at a certain point you got like either annoyed or just so fucking exhausted that you just started scribbling all over it. Am I right?
It's more it's a little bit of both. But it is roughly accurate to what's going on.
But it can't be because...
It fucking is!
So many... All right, I'm going to pick a line at random. The very thin orange one. So if I figure out where that thin orange line starts, and then I follow it, that will make some kind of fucking sense?
So time is not
linear. It's not a random scribble. Why is there a yellow gun?
That guy just has a thing for guns. That's kind of where I gave up, but he's generally in that time era.
You could never, ever explain all of that to me. I think, is at a point where I would have to read it myself to try to fucking understand that.
So anyway, that was timeline 1B, right? Now, if you look, you notice that I've actually done timeline 1A, which I don't know who that is. I think that's the Trolls' parents, but we haven't gotten to that. And then we got the Trolls, which is A2. And then we got the Kids 1, which is whatever the fuck we were just looking at, which is 1B. And then we got the Trolls 2, which is what we've just gotten to, which is 2B. You'll notice that I haven't bothered to draw 1A, 2B, or 2A, because I have a feeling that it's gonna just be a clusterfuck. So that's...
I have to ask you this, though. Like, the chat's been fucking trying to get me to ask you this.
Yeah,
What's up with Elmo? Why is there Elmo, like, from Sesame Street involved in this whatsoever?
Okay, so on the first chart, right... You'll notice up in the top, I was trying to explain, like, you know how, like, when you're a kid, did you ever want to have a corkboard with, like, lines of string like they do in movies that, like, pin to different, like, photographs of people? Basically, that's what this fucking chart I'm sending you is. Anyway, it turns out there was a certain level of accidental prescience there. Because the fucking puppet was the host for the demon that is now out and about.
So, do you mean to tell me that when you say the puppet, do you mean Elmo from Sesame Street as created by Jim Henson?
No,
like Creature
it's
Studios. Like
it's Dave's older brother has like a weird puppet fetish.
He made a joke about Elmo being already here, and that's the demon's deal.
Yeah, that is a constant line with the demon. Is he says, but he's already here. That it's Elmo is completely unrelated. I just happened to draw Elmo when I was like, I don't know, you'd have some little guy, and I accidentally drew Elmo, and it was like, okay, it's Elmo, I guess.
Now, listen.
Yeah.
Should we read it?
Yeah, okay.
Where are her arms?
They just don't draw them half the time. So anyway, she's sneaking out, and she is related to Betty Crocker. Like, she'll take over the Empire once she's old enough.
Why don't you just read this?
Okay. You figure a little wisdom from your elder couldn't hurt. It's practically went without saying that your dad keeps Pop-Up stuffed and mounted in front of the fireplace, as is the family tradition. Pop-Up grew up with the legendary humorous grandfather stuffed in front of his fireplace. This is stipulated firmly in the will. At the end of the long list of joke stipulations, Dad knew this is the real stipulation, though. And then
Aren't they afraid he's gonna get catch on fire? Probably like burn easily. Yeah, why do you keep anything like that's just dried flesh like in front of a fucking fire?
For the aesthetic.
It's kind of cool. I guess I can see that.
I remember reading about, like, I saw a story about it. It was like on Ripley's Believe It or Not, and they like the guy, his like in his will, it was like, I want to be stuffed. And so, like, rather than just, like, you know how, like, in a normal funeral, there's, like, a coffin, and you go up to the coffin and stuff. He was just, like, in the house, and they just kind of had him propped up in the corner. Like, he wasn't even, like, laying down on something or anything. He was just, like, kind of leaning against the wall. They didn't have a good place to put him.
Why wouldn't you put him on a base like they did with this guy?
I feel like anyone who would actually legitimately do this for you is, like, not totally right in the head and would not do it legitimately.
What do you call your grandfather?
I don't know.
Pop. I feel like there should be a hyphen there or a space. I feel like because that's just like
that looks wrong.
Pop.
Yeah.
Pop. Do you want me to read the next page? You want to take turns?
Sure, go for it.
You always did find it a little macabre, though, trying to watch TV and eat dinner on the couch with a dead old man standing about 5 feet away. You'd honestly prefer he not be kept here in the living room. Sometimes you tell Dad you really want Pop in the attic. He says the mere fact you call it that tells him you're not ready.
So, for some reason, the parental units for the kids are all, like, weirdly hostile to some degree or another.
Yeah, that's a very dark thing for her father to say, I think.
I think he's actually trying to look out for her, but he's just fucking bad at it.
What's on her shirt?
It's something.
You know what that kind of looks like? That caterpillar from Bug's Life?
What's that Pop-Up? It looks like he's concerned that you may not be properly equipped. You proved to him that you indeed had no intent of leaving your house without your trusty joke book. Have you seen the fleshlight?
You mean the thing that I'm actually linking to you right now because I want you to see it?
I knew that's where it was going. I knew that's where this was going, Mike.
He knew. He knows me so well at this point. We've been friends for like 3 years, like this, dude, and hanging out like this for 3 years.
Yeah.
So he saw that coming from a mile away in the fucking dark.
Yeah, I knew that's where you're going, and I'm like, I gotta save them.
It says ultra rare.
No, I see it, Mike. Let's continue reading Homestuck.
Can I read? This is one sentence. Just let me read it, please.
Go.
Please. Okay. Here's the Craigslist ad for the Bug's Life fleshlight. It says, "This is it, the Holy Grail, one of 4 in existence. 1998, a Bug's Life promotional fleshlight, never publicly released, only given to a select few high-ranking Pixar executives for personal use. 100% satisfaction guaranteed, very lightweight, gently used. Do not sleep on this one, folks." Do you think it's real?
No.
What's up with the animation in the top left of the red book with the little smaller book coming out of it? Like, what's that?
Oh, okay. So they have inventory. Everyone's got a different system for their inventory. Everyone's got a different one. Some of them are stupid. Hers makes a reasonable amount of sense.
So it's basically like her video game character inventory.
Yeah, but it's real life. Yes, I'm not going out with this book. No, I will not get an unabridged copy. No, I will not take yours. I can hardly lift it. It's so preposterous. Do you even hear what you're saying? I will be fine. This is a perfectly funny book, and it contains many incredibly funny jokes. Will you just stop it? I'm going now. Good day. And then a dorky little
so that's
face.
her. That's her saying that.
Yeah, she's saying that. She's yelling it at her dead grandfather. On second thought, take his book.
Oh my God, an arm fell out.
His arm fell off because the book hit it.
Oh
no,
okay.
the book got thrown into her inventory.
Yeah, man, that's some poorly done taxidermy.
You just remembered something your alien friend said about a big old book downstairs, and trusting words written in by your own hands. What the heck did she mean by that? Whoops, sorry, Pop-Up. Retrieve arm. Better pick that up. What's up?
You now have the arm in your inventory.
Yeah, better pick that up. You'll try to repair that later before Dad sees it and blows a gasket.
So it says Colonel Colonel Sassacre.
Colonel Sassacre's daunting text, magical frivolity, and practical japery.
It's very hard to read. It's all scratched up and shit.
Well, it's fucking old. Is your friend suggesting that you were the one who wrote this inscription? You find it a bit hard to swallow. Still, your friend is always babbling about time travel. You always thought this inscription was written by your pop-up, by his Nana, who is your great-great-grandmother, founder of the corporation you'll inherit in a few years. The message has always been fascinating mystery to you. Probably was to him as well. From the way it was written, it almost seemed like it was intended for him to receive after her death. She talks about a journey he is supposedly meant to go on. You wonder if that adventure ever took place, or if the note was just one last jape by an old woman from a proud family of pranksters. She goes on about many fantastical sounding things as he supposedly would have found on this journey, like agents and exiles and underlings and denizens and heirs of breath and seers of light and stuff like that. Wait, didn't your friend mention those too? In any case, this message to pop up from his sweet old Nana is the best evidence you have to dispute all of this evil batter witch nonsense. She clearly cared for her grandmother very much and would never have started a company responsible for things it's accused of. It's sort of like Amazon, where it's like Betty Crocker is probably involved in some weird fucked up shit, but everyone just kind of rolls with it.
Yeah, I get it. I made that connection before. I was like, oh, Betty Crocker is kind of like the evil corporate
yeah. Betty
corporation
Crocker is
everything.
evil in this universe, according to her friend, and she's gone downstairs, I'm remembering this now, to go confirm that it's not, but also do other things, I guess.
Are you going to read the inscription?
No, I've read it before.
Are you seeing this before? Everybody's seen that before. All right.
Yeah, it just is, though, like I said, the inscription made no fucking sense back then.
But now it does.
But now, here it is again. This is what I'm talking about. Why would this inscription mean fucking anything? But it does, so there you go.
So it's a very old inscription that was meant for the grandfather whose arm she just broke off.
But it's not. That's the weird thing, is time shenanigans happened. This was written by the character who's currently reading it, I think.
What the fuck?
And she gave it to her grandson, who is John.
So this is time travel stuff. This is because the person who's reading this is going to write this and then send it to the past.
This is before the reset, yeah. Reset shenanigans. Right. Multiple universes, different timelines. Just sort of roll with it when I say weird bullshit, and it's probably true. Any case, this message to pop up from his sweet old Nana is the best evidence that you have to dispute this evil batter witch nonsense. She clearly cared for her grandson very much and would never start a company responsible for things that she's accused of, let alone be alive today to perpetrate them. But then, if she wasn't the one who wrote it, then this thought makes you very nervous. You suddenly remember your dream. What did it mean? You should talk to Jake about all this. Bother Jake.
All right, so now I'm seeing something very strange. It's another character. And there's a pester log, it says.
This is them talking over, AOL Instant Messenger.
Do you want to play one character and I'll play the other character?
Yeah, which one do you want to be?
I don't know. Which one do you think I should be? Which one do you want to be?
So for context, Jake has a thing for adventure and doing Indiana Jones shit, but he also has a thing for blue ladies. Like Avatar?
Yeah,
he's got Avatar posters up in his bedroom.
Like
And-
straight up James Cameron's Avatar with
Yeah, straight up. Yeah, that.
Like that's actually in like he acknowledges that in universe.
Yes.
Blue ladies.
Blue
So what
ladies.
like what else? Like Smurfs?
Yeah, I think Smurfette is on the wall as well.
He's got Smurfette up
He's got
there?
a Smurfette and weird old-timey slang. Yeah, I forgot about that.
All right. I'm gonna be I'll be GG. I'll do a girl voice then.
Okay, there you go.
Yay! How goes the bunny quest?
I've barely even begun.
Tell me about it.
You're off to a sluggish start then, I gather.
Dad has the whole house in full fatherly lockdown mode. Talk about blowing a few measly assassination attempts way out of proportion.
Oh, it's me again.
So I'm
Yeah, it's still
currently
you.
mulling over my next move. What is it that has you hamstrung? Did you ever track down the slippery Mr. Strider?
Not exactly. His stupid doppelglasses had me sent on a wild goose chase to go pry his dumb robot chest open wide and swipe its uranium.
Sounds dangerous.
No shit. I'd rather deal with the monsters.
Why is it that our two best friends in the world always seem to place themselves at the source of all our problems, while simultaneously presenting their only solutions?
I know, right?
I'm debating whether or not to enlist his help in the matter of my current imprisonment, but I'd rather keep it as a plan of last resort.
Don't do it, Jane. It's a trap.
We'll see. So I take it you're out and about now?
Hell no. I spent too much time haggling with those confounded shades that I'm leaving my room just now.
Right. Well, not to keep you too long, since we both still have our missions ahead of us. But I wanted to tell you about that dream I had.
Oh yeah, I was curious about that. Tell me everything and make it snappy. Whips up a bucket of freshly popped corn.
Whew. Tee-hee. Okay, but I should say that the nature of the dream was a bit worrisome. And I'm concerned it may have implications for the game we're about to play. So it's probably best that I tell you about it before you leave.
Well, shoot. Then, okay, lay it on me, Jane. Okay, so context on what's going on in this screen. When you fall asleep, the dream version of yourself wakes up and moves around on either Durst or Prospect, depending on a clusterfuck of things.
It was weird to read that dialogue with absolutely no context. Like, I have no fucking idea what I just read. And it was like, it confused me more than fucking you telling me about it.
Okay, yeah, but that's just Homestuck. You're getting into the groove of it, yes.
All right, so she's in her dream body. It's like Inception, but not.
Yeah, but it's
All right,
real. And so basically you get a second life. If you die,
Yeah.
you can still do shit as your dream self. But in certain circumstances, if you die, then you can go God tier. So it's sort of like Super Saiyan, but you have to die in a very specific way. It's Homestuck shit. Point is, dreams are real, and you can go and meet people that you know in real life in your dreams and have a conversation.
So you have another version of yourself that's a dream self, and you can actually move around in the real world as your dream self.
Not in
It's
the
like you
real
have-
world, in like
In the dream
on a
world.
different planet.
But it's a
where-
real place.
It's a real place.
And if you die in the dream, you die in real life.
Well, that your dream self is dead, and then if you fall asleep, it's fucked up.
Okay, I buy that. That's kind of a
Just-
cool concept. This fucking concept of you going to another planet and having like a second body or something like while you're dreaming is a fucking H.P. Lovecraft story.
Beyond the Wall
Wall
of Sleep.
Beyond the Wall of Sleep. That's the one. That's got to be it.
There are two different versions of these planets, and they're sort of like orbiting each other or some shit. I don't really understand where they are in relationship to each other. And your in-game who you are is usually divided up by like either your Durst or Prospect, and then whatever your class is, and then of something. Dave, I think he's a Durst Knight of Time.
Do you want to read this?
Yeah.
I'll start.
I woke up on the planet which we have been told about by our mutual acquaintance. The one covered in golden cities, Prospect, remember?
Oh, wouldn't that be Prospect's moon?
Yes, you're right. It was the moon, actually. I could see the planet on the dark horizon.
I low-key
I
hate
was
this.
dressed in a golden dress, tee-hee, like a sort of nightgown, and I could fly. I left my bedroom, which was at the top of a tall tower, Surrounding me were the gold cities, just as described. Behind the skyline was darkness, but just above was a bright blue sky and puffy white clouds.
That was Skyia.
Yes, probably. Are you sure you haven't woken up there before?
Haha, I wish. I've received reports from Jade about this as well. She liked to talk about her dreams on Process Moon a lot.
I see. The impression I have developed is that this is supposed to be a real place, and all who dream there have shared experiences. Did Jade ever mention seeing us there?
No, why would she? It was long before we were born. She was dreaming there like hundreds of years ago or something.
Anyway.
Nepeta? Chat, what is Nepeta?
Okay, so one of the trolls, right?
What is that?
One of the trolls is named Nepeta. So she's like a cat girl.
Rad.
I'm
Hello?
trying to Google it. Homestuck.
Man, that's gonna be porn, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it was. Okay.
So you're trying to show me a picture of this, but you don't want it to be porn. But
Yeah.
it sounds like the problem that you're having is it's all porn. Let's
Mike.
read this. Let's just read this and just like forget that happened.
You
for a
mean remember Ryuta from Ocarina of Time?
I remember the name, but I don't remember what the
She was the
character
fish lady girl. She went in Jabba Jabu, and you had to like grab her and run her out.
What's Jabu Jabu?
The whale.
Yeah. I remember something like that. Yeah,
Have you ever seen porn of any character on the internet?
I have.
I think people unironically jerk off to stuff like that.
Can I tell you about the first time I saw weird like DeviantArt when I was like fucking like 13 or 14? You ever watch Mystery Science Theater 3000? It's not that bad. It was just the two robots, but they just had like huge dicks.
Of course they did.
And I was like, why would someone do this? I was scared. I was like, why would someone do this to them? You know, like
The first
what
time
the
I saw
fuck?
something like that was Sonic.
yeah, yours was Sonic.
Yeah. I used to hang out on Newgrounds a lot, and they'd have like flash animations, and there's one, and it was Sonic, and I was like, hey, it's a Sonic game, I'll play it. And it was porn.
Oh yeah, you play.
that
was your
was
first-
like definitely a moment where I was just like, oh.
Yeah, the world isn't like as cool of a place as I thought it was.
Yeah.
You know, that was that MST3K art for me. Like
yeah,
that was the
like
first...
that's when I became an adult.
Yeah.
When I
I was
first
like,
saw Sonic
I
naked.
don't- It was confusion. It was fear. It was just like I felt sad too. Like I was like I felt bad for the characters that somebody would do that to them. You know. And I think the next one I had seen was The Simpsons. It was Marge and Homer.
Yeah, anytime you go to any like sketchy website where you can just like watch a movie for free,
yeah,
like
yeah.
inadvertently you see either Lois's titties or you see Marge Simpson's titties.
There were a lot of like Marge Simpson boobs
Yeah.
going around. That was like everywhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should read this.
Yeah.
I explored the moon and began to notice people gathering in the streets. But they weren't human. They were funny-looking, perfectly white creatures.
You're British now? Yeah, those are Prospians. They've hard carapace shell, and they like something to do with chess, I think.
Well, I don't know if they had much to do with chess here. The more closely I observed, the more they appeared somewhat despondent.
Like, sad?
Yes, I determined they were in mourning, actually.
Hey, Jane, you said this was a dream. Where do I come in?
Shush! I'm getting there. More
No.
and more
What are these called? Prospecians?
Prospidians?
Prospidians.
Just fucking roll with whatever you think it is. It's fine.
more and more prostitutes were filling out the buildings every
Good.
moment. They all began to form a single major procession. When I got closer, I could see that some were in tears. I realized this was a funeral.
Does anyone have like a very definable like car cat moment that we can just like show Mike so that way he knows why like that you actually are bullying him when you say that? The future version of him always hates the past version of himself, and the current version of himself also always hates the past version of himself, but the version that is currently speaking always thinks that it's right, when really only the most future version is.
All right, listen. I'll say this. I despise the past version of myself. Like, if I could time travel, I would just beat the shit out of myself.
Mike, don't do this.
It's true.
You're proving them right.
That's accurate.
That's the problem.
Well, if they're right about this aspect of it, then they're fucking right. Do I hate my future self? I don't know yet.
Read like a couple lines of this.
Hey, douchebag, are you there? Yeah, I call myself a douchebag sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, this is who they're saying you are.
I get why now. Yeah, I get why. Past me is the dumbest bucket of festering discharge I ever fell ass backwards into. Okay, yeah, I get it.
Is there a conversation between Carcat and Dave that we could read?
This memo is not about which guy can manage to be the heftiest sack of shame globes to one another. What? It is not about which one of us will most decisively escort the others to school, where they will receive a vast helping of oh snap rammed down their insatiable ignorance shafts. What? He sounds like a wrestling promo. He really does, Rafe, yeah. Oh, ha, ha, ha. If Smug was a motorcycle, it just jumped over a fucking canyon. The crowd goes wild with dismay and then commits mass suicide. It's funny to read this dialogue and have no fucking idea.
You're doing it perfect, man.
I have no idea what I'm reading. I don't know what any of this is. And then, like, look at the chat. Like, people are like, this is great. They're like, oh, that's so good. Like, I have no fucking idea what's going on. I'm just reading it angry because the guy seems like he's in permanent dick mode.
Yeah, he basically is, yeah.
As fascinating as a lecture on all that would be, it's not what this is about. Which brings me to a related point of business. John, don't think I didn't notice how many E's you just typed there. That's got to stop too.
What does?
Oh my God, that is me. Oh my God, that's me bitching about ellipses. Captain Waddle theorizes that this is like a sick what's the word? Not revenge necessarily, Captain Waddle, but like you're inflicting this on me because this was inflicted on you.
No, because I feel like this would be a good stream, and I think I'm right. I haven't Bilbo'd. You're right. I haven't Bilbo'd. Give me a second.
Oh, you're gonna play that song during?
Yeah, I need. Yeah, Bilbo Baggins. Yeah, and I can't play it at regular speed because YouTube will copyright claim it.
So you gotta do it really slow.
I gotta do it really slow, or real fast. All right, here we go.
In the middle of the earth, in the land of Shire, lives a brave little hobbit whom we all admire, with his long wooden pipe, fuzzy woolly toes. He lives in the hobbit hole, and everybody knows him. Now hobbits are these little folks, you know. They're never in a hurry and they take things slow. They don't like to travel alone. They just like to eat and be left alone. But one day Bilbo was asked to go on a big adventure to the cave below to help some dwarves get back their gold that was stolen by a dragon in the days of old Bilbo. He was chased by wolves, lost in the forest, but escaped near the town from the elves. Oh, Bilbo,
This is the 40th stream?
It might be.
The 40th stream. Well, you're halfway through it,
aren't you? No. Can I show Mike The Baby Is You?
What's The Baby Is You?
3, 2, 1, go.
That's 14 minutes long.
Yeah, this is like a fan thing that Toby Fox was involved in.
Oh, this is the Mpreg song!
This is the Mpreg song.
Oh, I know of this. Yeah, I know of this. Yeah.
So anyway, apparently it got so bad that they kept shipping people on the forums that they had to ban it. Where's the part where it's clearly the song from Pokemon? Yeah, click about 13 minutes in.
The amount of work that must have went into this is insane. 13 minutes in.
Yeah.
Yep, that's from Pokemon.
That's The Baby Is You. The baby is true, Mike. The baby is you. We'll finish this section. I heard whispers, but I couldn't make out what they were saying, so I got closer. All were all saying the same thing over and over. The page is dead. Our hope is lost.
Oh, wait, you're reading my character, aren't you?
Oh, I am. Go ahead.
Yeah.
The page is dead. Our hope is lost.
And there she
The
goes.
page? Who's that?
Jake, the baby was you.
I bet you could really fuck someone up with a spatula.